Welcome everybody to Elephants on Business podcast, improving our small business journey together, one episode at a time. Today I've got Sam again with me. We're basically going to be talking about networking and collaboration in small business community. G'day, Sam.
G'day, everyone.
So obviously a big part of small business is, at times you're by yourself and it can be obviously stressful trying to, decipher what you want to do and things like that. So we thought we'll just talk about a little bit about, networking and collaborating with the small business community and sort of what are the benefits of doing that and how it can improve your small business journey, I guess. So, we've got a couple of dot points to go through today. So the first one on there is obviously sharing of resources, which is one that we also use ourselves at times, and, even like a co-working space and things like that, tick the box here. So, talk to us about sharing resources with, other small businesses.
Yeah, so you could obviously share office space. You might not even be co-working, it might be just you'll be able to, instead of just having your space, you can get probably more bang for your buck. If you shared with someone else, you get a bigger office, look more professional by having that bigger space.
And if you're in another industry such as construction, you can hire a warehouse and then break that up with maybe another small business owner that needs a warehouse space as well, right? So then they can store their equipment or material, and you can store your equipment and material. It may get you in a little bit quicker rather than you spending the whole trying to find a warehouse that's adequate to your budget. You may be able to just split the cost and actually get a warehouse a lot sooner than what you would have if you weren't sharing those resources, I guess.
Yeah, correct.
So, obviously sharing office space is more for professional services. That warehouse space, may target, other particular industries. So that's one. So that sort of accelerates, obviously your business in a way. The second one there is, collaborating on projects, right? So, obviously that's a big one, right? So
say if it's a construction industry, there might be a big project. You might say work on 50 grand jobs or 100 grand jobs, and then all of a sudden someone comes to you and goes, a builder might come to you and go, I've got this $1 million job, and it's like, well, I haven't got the resources to
the capacity
to get that done, but the profit margin might be good on it, but I just can't have the staff or the capabilities to get that done. So you might approach someone else in the same space and go, well, if we put our resources together, we might be able to get this done. And then,
we're both benefiting from that,
correct,
tender. So we see that quite a bit maybe in, that construction space, like where a client will win a large project and, as you said, maybe has sort of bitten off too much and then may need to rely on, colleagues in his particular industry to go out and, fulfill that contract, right? So then they'll have, instead of using, for example, they've got a team of 10, they might know a mate that has another team of 10 as well. Together, team of 20 can go and do that much larger project, work together, maybe learn a little bit along the way because you've got more people, and maybe, ends up being a nice learning opportunity as well. And then you're also both benefiting from that because, there's a potential project or a lead that, maybe you couldn't have done by yourself as a sole business, but now you're doing it together. At least you're probably deriving some income, and it's a great learning opportunity as well. The second one there is, sort of, which ties back to point number 2, building out partnerships within a specific industry. So referral partners or, people that may do a very similar role to what you're doing, and you can rely on them. So we do use this at times, right? So
I think as well,
more for complementary services.
Yeah, I think as well it could be if you're in this IT space, it might be a web designer, with like an SEO specialist or something like that. So something you don't exactly do, you might to be able to provide that for the client. Just have an add-on or complementary to your business there.
Yeah, so essentially they're filling in the gaps if you're trying to solve, like, let's say that website, your example, and you only specialize in design, maybe teaming up with a certain partner that does other elements of the website may be able to give you the full package to deliver to the end client. Very similar to obviously collaborating on projects, but these are maybe building out long-term partnerships with certain other businesses to help you along the way. And you never know, like, these type of opportunities can expand your own business as well, because any leads that they might get, they can pass them over to you, and then maybe there is an opportunity in the future where you can maybe merge the two services together and have a bigger business, and it probably helps with your overall image to the public and getting leads in. The other benefit of networking and collaborating is obviously just learning, right?
Yeah, I think this one's a big one. I think some businesses just can get stuck in the way and not really develop or see what actually is going on in other businesses within their space. You're just doing it your way, and not really seeing like other people might be doing it quicker, better, differently, so you can kind of see what is exactly going on in the industry.
As you said, like, sometimes you can get muddled up in your own small business, and your head's down and you're not really looking around, and maybe there's some technology that you can use, or there's probably let's say a different process that you can use that may get you a better efficient approach to things. And then the biggest other point to this, when you learn from others, is you can learn off their failures as well and their successes, like what worked for them, what didn't necessarily work. Even though some things don't work for particular businesses, may work for others, it is a nice way to just gauge and learn and ask questions, especially if the business is a couple of years ahead of you, and if it's in the same industry, you might as well learn off them and see how they got to a certain stage. And maybe there's some learnings that you can take and apply to your business, or even just simple learnings maybe on just the technology that you can implement within your business. So I think that's a big one, which leads on to our point 5, which was just mentoring, right? So like finding someone that can mentor you. Maybe it is within the same business, or someone that's probably outside of your business as well. They also have sometimes a good lens to maybe a problem that you're trying to tackle. So if you're trying to, let's say, derive more sales, maybe you go and try and get someone that specializes in sales that can mentor you on the correct sales process to have within your business, right? So mentoring is huge.
Yeah, I think it's mentoring, and then like you can also look at it as maybe a business you aspire to be or want to be. So you can kind of mentoring is someone you could go to ask questions, or am I on the right track, or what do you think, like, this way? If I went down this path, how does it look? Should I do this way? Or it's probably just, if you are just a single business owner, getting, I suppose, clarification that you are on the right track and you are making the right decisions. Because when you got multiple business partners, then you can ask your other business partners like what they think of this or this scenario. So it's good to have someone to being able to lean on. But also, having a business to aspire, or what you want to kind of look like, or is good, because it's you can kind of see what they're doing and go, well, that's what we want to kind of do, but we'll change it a little bit and make it our own.
It gives you a path to look towards. Point number 6 is obviously access to funding and investment opportunities. So once again, sometimes having a collective business approach to things, and having two businesses go into, let's say, an investment opportunity or some sort of let's say funding issue, it can accelerate that, right? So examples of that may be, let's say there's a type of investment opportunity within your industry, and you want to buy maybe a piece of machinery that you can't afford. Maybe you can do that with someone else that's also in the same industry, and you can share that piece of equipment
Definitely in small businesses, that can accelerate the business very quickly. A lot of small businesses probably get stuck by just lack of funding, lack of resources. So by having access to that funds, it can really accelerate through that phase. It's very important.
Yeah, there's some type, at times there's, been clients where they probably need to buy, like, let's say a CNC mill, and rather than, if they don't have access to funding via a bank and that they don't have, savings, partnering up with someone that potentially wants to do it as well may just get your foot through the door, and then you guys share that piece of equipment. Once there's, sufficient profits, then you can, obviously go out there and buy another one, and then probably it leads on to, probably accessing funds from the bank, which then can accelerate both businesses, simultaneously. The other one there is also, we've got point 7, which is increasing efficiency and productivity. So that comes back down to point 1 in a sense, right? So like if you join in with, let's say, another business that's in the same industry, and going back to your example where you have a construction client that's partnering up with, a very, a similar business that's doing the same thing to complete a big project, time frames on certain projects will come down, because instead of approaching that project with 10 people and then potentially having that go for 6 to 12 months, having that secondary person to lean on, you may be able to finish that project off a lot quicker, and then obviously it helps with efficiency and productivity there.
Yeah, I think it's just sharing that resources is the key there. Like we've mentioned above, it could be even in like our industry, collaborating with certain. There could be an expert in certain areas of tax, international tax, or something like that. By just sharing those resources, you can kind of go, well, we just need kind of someone to give that international tax,
specific advice
around that, and then it kind of that business might might be other areas that we specialize in that can assist that other business.
Yeah. And the last one that we have here is like obviously competitive advantage. So if you are, leaning on the small business community and your networks, you may be able to find someone that obviously has those complementary services to you, which then gives you maybe a unique proposition within the market to, let's say, advertise a potential service that no other business can do, or, a more robust service line. So an example of that may be, obviously, we do that quite a bit sometimes here, like where we've got accounting and finance services. So, it's a one-stop shop, and a client can come, complete their tax returns, and get maybe a view on how much they can borrow. And it probably just makes that whole service experience a little bit more pleasant. And it's obviously a unique product that you can probably form, because you've got 2 services, and it makes it, quite unique, and it's
quick and convenient for the client too.
Yeah.
Don't have to go around and go, oh, I need this now. Like, you need to collaborate with the finance team to go, well, this is what it looks like. This is what, rather than you get quick information, I suppose.
Yeah, and the other thing to that also is, there's if they're in a different service line or industry, there may be certain technology or innovation or processes that they do that you can implement in your particular industry that you haven't really thought about. So working together on a unique product or a service may enable both businesses to think outside the box a little bit, where they can, maybe form different way, like a different process in the way that they tackle things. So that pretty much wraps up today's episode. If you're enjoying the content, please give us a like and a share, and we'll be back with some more episodes later on. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Thanks, guys.